For many years, Myrtle Beach Speedway pleasured fans with its intense racing and some of the big names who made its way to this South Carolina-based facility. While the track no longer exists today in real life, it is part of future developments in the Myrtle Beach area, and its main facility has moved on to another racetrack miles away from here. iRacing has the power of keeping memories alive, especially for tracks such as this. Tonight, the Bootleg Racing League makes its way back to this circuit, one where it's had tons of history and tons of great battles. The question's going to be, which driver will come up on top tonight? We're about to find out here on the Global SimRacing channel. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway for the fourth race of the 2020 Season 4 campaign for the Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series, presented by the Cruise Shop and Motorsports Drop. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside of the booth tonight is Devin Henry. Behind the scenes, it's our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. This track spent many years as one of the premier short tracks in all the Southeast. Now, what's the best way around this track? Let's take a look at your GSRC lap guide to find out.
Welcome to Myrtle Beach Speedway. Located in the heartland of NASCAR's core here in the southeastern United States, this track has seen countless legends from the oval racing scene duke it out. With the beautiful scenery of South Carolina as its backdrop, this half-mile oval has an unusual asymmetric D-shape. The 13-degree banking means that the low line tends to be preferred, but that has its own perils for those who like to flirt with the edge. Turns 1 and 2 feature prominent curbing that will knock loose any type of car that dares run over them. On the opposite side, turns 3 and 4 have the pit wall right at the bottom of the banking. Those who attempt to use the apron to help turn the car risk taking damage should they brush the concrete. Both the Petty and Earnhardt families have raced here for multiple generations, meaning those who show up to catch the Saturday night special might just see the next NASCAR legend kick off their career. While the Cup cars haven't visited for a few decades, late models and modifieds still regularly visit the place. All in all, you can't beat the beauty of the palm trees and a short trip to the beach, both of which are available to fans here at this historic track.
That was a look at your GSRC lap guide for Myrtle Beach Speedway. Now, these competitors are getting ready to tackle this racetrack, which last season had just 3 caution flags. It was an entertaining race and some good battling for the series. Overall, one lead change, seeing J.R. Shepard dominate and win by 0.3 of a second over Justin Morton after leading 73 of the 100 laps. Keep an eye on him today, but also keep in mind that the SK Modified Series ran out of time for the respective race and had several big ones in the field today with the cooler track conditions of the fall time. Now, as these drivers get ready to tackle this racetrack with 13 degrees of banking in the turns and 4 degrees down the front and 3 down the back, remind you of your presenting sponsors for the BRL Grand National Series. The Cruise Shop. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. The Cruise Shop specializes in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney, family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They love the opportunity to help you plan your next dream vacation. Call them today at 260-755-6125. This series also presented by Motorsports Drop. Struggling to keep track of what's happening in all the biggest racing series each week? The Motorsports Drop is for you. Catch up with last week's big winners, the biggest races on this weekend's calendar, and stories in the world of racing with quick news bites on Mondays and Fridays. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Podcasts, and more. Search Motorsports Drop to find us, or find a full list of providers at Linktree/Motorsports Drop. Let's take a look at your point standings entering tonight, and it's been tight so far. Keep in mind, J.R. Shepard missed the open race this season, and because there are no drop weeks, you will likely have a long hill to climb. He's outside your top 10. James Lowe, however, is in your points lead after a victory, his second of the season at Nashville last week. Kenny Kibbe's just 4 points behind entering the evening, with Justin Morton a total of 5 points behind in P3. Jeffrey Harden, Joseph Sagawa also within range, round out your top 5, separated by about 23 points or so, entering the evening in what's been competitive championship so far. Now, these drivers tonight will be turning 100 laps around this racetrack, one faster pair available, again no drops with an 8 position invert based on the finishing results of last week's race at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Drivers will be racing in the Arca Menard Chevrolet Monte Carlo, or National Impala, I should rather say, around this racetrack today. Again, fixed setups for these competitors here at Myrtle Beach. They've been working on practice for the past little while or so. Your track conditions very cool, meaning there's going to be a lot of grip and a lot of fast times. 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 65 is the air temp. Winds to the northwest about 5 miles an hour, very low humidity. For tonight's race, 19 flats. Time is being turned right now in practice on the board. For reference sake, your fastest lap times back in the springtime at this track, in July specifically rather, were about 4 to 5 tenths slower than what these competitors have been able to turn tonight. Looking at James Lowe, he is second on your practice board. Kenny Kibbe is at the top of the standings, the only driver in the 18-9 so far. Austin Belkey's third on the board, with Kurt Smith and J.R. Shepard in your top 5 in practice on the evening, separated by about 1/10 of a second. One of the drivers who's also put in a decent amount of time, should note, is Michael Rennie. See him in P7. He's been working a lot on the tire saving if you think back to last season. Tonight, in a decent position in the standings, looking to carry momentum forward tonight. He now joins us in the broadcast booth. Michael, first things first, how are you feeling tonight?
I feel pretty good.
Okay, sounds good first of all, especially since you just bumped yourself up to 6 on the practice charts, right past Steven Spies. But second, how would you describe your season so far in the series?
Well, this is the first race for me. I've kind of been on a break, enjoying the real life racing and taking a break from Friday and Saturday night racing.
That actually leads into a good question. Of course, Hot Pit Media on the card tonight. That's some of the work you do outside the sim. How has that been going, especially with the playoffs in real life for NASCAR starting to heat up?
Well, we've kind of not been able to get it off the ground like we wanted to. But here in about a week and a half, everything's fixing to kick off and going to have some really good, exciting content. We're going to have a few Xfinity drivers coming on. I'm not going to name the drivers, but just know that those drivers are coming on board, as well as some dirt racers. So we've got some really cool stuff coming to the page over there. Be sure and check that out.
Good to hear indeed. How has it been trying to balance that out with everything else in your life, especially with this series and everything else, knowing there's a lot of focus too on anyone who's involved in the media, especially in stock car racing?
That's not too bad. With having that page, with having this league, another league that I run through the week, and having my own personal league, it's a fine little balancing act, but I manage. It's not too bad.
How would you describe the racetrack, in your opinion, for tonight's race? What should fans expect?
You're going to see a lot of loose race cars. Those people that kind of get greedy and want to get on the throttle too soon. Could see a lot of spin outs. This track here, in my opinion, you got to race what the track gives you, and you can't get greedy.
Anything else you'd like to add before you let you get back to the track for 5 minutes more practice in the race?
I just appreciate Lowell putting on the league, and you guys putting on the broadcast. You do a great job, and be sure and go check out Hot Pit Media.
Good luck on the run tonight.
Appreciate it, sir.
Michael Redding in the number 30 machine. Up back to P7, by the way, in practice, because Spees put up a time about 1.13 seconds off your quick time. Now let's bring in my broadcast partner, Devin Henry, as we get ready to go racing here. Your opinion on this race tonight, as it's already been a crazy one with a lot of attrition, as just talked about. A very loose racetrack for many of these drivers led to several spins in the modified race just moments ago, to the point where they ran out of time with 20 laps to go.
And this can be an absolute game changer for the entire season, just because of how difficult this track really is. And you talk about how loose it is, and that's everywhere on the track. Look at the time of day it is. It's not even hot outside. The sun isn't beating down. And that's just how difficult Myrtle Beach is, right? this can be the tone setter for the rest of your season. We're coming closer to halfway. This race is so important when it comes to setting up for the rest of the season.
How much pressure as a driver do you have if you're, say, J.R. Shepard, who missed one race already on the campaign, or anyone else who wants to try and recover for the championship fight, especially knowing some of the ups and downs that have already taken place in the first couple weeks?
Well, looking at Shepard in particular, being someone in his space, obviously there's the bullseye on his back every single race. He's arguably, I don't even know if it's arguable at this point with the amount of wins he has in this series. He is the #1 guy in the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Series, and at least the Grand National Series. And I think because of that, maybe there's less pressure on him to get it done because he knows that he can get it done. And if he doesn't get it done, well, it's because he missed a race and there's no drop weeks this year. So I feel like while there is pressure on J.R. Shepard, he doesn't feel it, and I really don't think that he cares about it. I actually think that there might be more pressure on a guy like James Lowe. We talked about how last season wasn't his season, and I hate bringing that up so often, but it really wasn't. But such a hot start to this year, can he keep it up? Because right now, he's the guy on top with the target on his back, and it's been a while since he's been that guy.
Yeah, he's had a strong start to this campaign. 2 wins already in the first 3 races. A strong victory over Shepard last week. Your thoughts on how he performed last week at a brand new track for the series, Nashville Fairgrounds?
Well, that's what blew me away. First of all, it was a brand new track for everyone with this series. Second of all, he didn't have great runs necessarily in the 2 races prior. And so you take a look at the experience in total in the Bootleg Racing League across the different series, and maybe he's not the favorite. But the way that he was, again, like we saw in the first week, just patient and able to hit his marks when he needed to, and something that we've seen with J.R. Shepard is having the tires when it mattered most, and somehow he did that at the end of the race. I have been impressed more by him than any other driver, and that says a lot with just how fast Kenny Kibbe has been this season as well.
And he mentioned he took some time off as well. He's been competitive. Also very competitive, Justin Morton in the top 3 in the standings. He's also in the realistic championship fight, only 5 points back. He's also shown a great amount of improvement here, Devin, this year again.
And you expect a lot out of him. One of only 4 drivers to ever win in this series. The expectations are high. I expect him to go out and win a race this year. He performs very well at a plethora of different disciplines as well. And so I expect him to be in victory lane. Right now, P2 on the practice board, and so I think that we come to every single track almost, and it's a track that Justin Morton has an opportunity to win at. It's just a matter of him capitalizing on that and closing the deal for the 2nd time in his Grand National career.
Still about a minute or so left to go on the practice charts. Every driver's put in a time. The slow time is only 3/10 just about off your top time at Kenny Kibbe. Only 2 drivers have set times in the 18.9s, Kibbe and Morton. Your expectations for this race tonight, knowing what's happened tonight and knowing what happened the last time these competitors were here back in July?
Well, part of what I want to look at is the fact that these practice times, note, these are not qualifying times that are so close. These are practice times that are so close. And just looking at that, it makes me wonder, does that mean that guys are going to be closer together on the racetrack? We've had some great long green flag runs in these first few races this year. So if guys are closer together than usual, they're going to push each other harder. If they're pushing each other harder, then they're using up their tires more. That might make it more important than ever this year to have leftover tires at the end of this race. Everyone's kind of bunched together, pushing each other. Everyone's maintaining the right front differently. And so how important will it be at the tail end of this race to have those tires? You look at the interval between every single driver. No one is more than half a tenth faster than the next guy behind them. That is a stacked field.
Going to be entertaining tonight, absolutely. Of note, Tim Janowski, who finished in P8 last week at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, not on the field tonight. Meaning, with these drivers ready to jump over to the grid, the driver who finished in 7th will be your pole sitter to bring us to the green flag here in the Bootleg Racing League for its Grand National Series tonight. Let's take a look at that specific grid. Todd Liston is that car who finished in 7th. He'll start alongside Steven Spees. Spees, one of the quicker cars in practice tonight. Kenny Kibbe, the quickest in practice tonight, is in P3 alongside Justin Morton. When our driver did not make the start tonight in Bobby Rafferty, that moves up J.R. Shepard and James Lowe to 5th and 6th on the grid. The rest of the field set via provisionals. Ruben Altice starts in 7th, Austin Belke, Jeffrey Harden, and Bruce Pearson round out your top 10, Devin.
Joe Segala starts off in 11th, Donnie Moore outside of row number 6. Mike Allen lines up in 13th, Jason Menda in 14th. Robbie Robinson starts off in the 15th position. We talked to Michael Redding before the race. He has a trek to make up spots. He starts in 16th. And Kurt Smith rounds out our 17-car field here at Myrtle Beach.
These cars rolling down the front stretch. Once again, 100 laps your distance tonight at this 0.54-mile facility. Fortunately, just recently was completely demolished for future development here in Myrtle Beach. Their operations moving miles away from this facility to another racetrack. Your thoughts on Myrtle Beach and its history, because one of the main things with iRacing is you can preserve history. And this is now one of those tracks preserved and frozen in time with its scale.
It's just so disappointing. I come from Phoenix, Arizona, where we had arguably the most legendary dirt track in all of America, Manzanita Speedway, and it was sold and torn down for nothing. I mean, literally for years it sat empty because they couldn't actually use the space, but they tore it down anyway. So being able, especially for hometown people, to actually race on it virtually, I can't imagine a better gift to the racing world than to have historic tracks like this available to the public.
Very huge. Especially since this was the training grounds for former stars like Jeff Gordon. All 4 generations of the Petties raced here, 3 generations of the Earnhardts. And now, the BRL's Grand National Series is ready to race here once more. Green flag is out. We're underway for Myrtle Beach.
Most everyone's staying 2 by 2. I mean, I'm extremely impressed by that. A lot of guys not able to make moves early here, Justin.
I was going to say a great launch by Todd Liston, already in more than a car length advantage. Justin Morton, though, taking away P3 on the outside in the first lap. See how things fare out here. Already contact the back of the field. Caution is out. Joe Segala spun around. Kurt Smith, Michael Redding, Jason Menda also involved in trouble in turn 2. Already under caution. A big dive came underneath the 81 into turn 1 to cause all this huge car on the replay.
Yeah, need to get out of that a little bit sooner, and it collects basically everyone outside the top 10. A couple guys look like able to come away unscathed there, lucky for them, but Joe Segala started this race in 11th, definitely not happy with that. We'll take a look on board here.
And it's Mike Allen who had a warning for this exact same situation, over driving the corner. Not the way to show how you respond to being put on a warning list for penalties.
Yeah, I mean, in essence there, I know that there wasn't necessarily a car fully to the outside of Segala there, but you're basically taking someone 3 wide on a half-mile track, lap number 2. So, yeah, that doesn't typically go over well.
2 faster pairs being used, Redding and Menda already having to come down for service. Segala looking to tough it out here. Well, let's talk about the tendencies, in your opinion, for these drivers. As a competitor, how do you want to drive this track with this car?
Well, you want to try your best to race it consistently, right? But obviously 100 laps on the same pair of tires, that doesn't happen. You have to be able to adapt. But corner entry, at least with the steering wheel, is still somewhat similar on old tires. Of course, though, you have the treacherous turtles. The smallest laps in judgment on 80-lap old tires at full speed makes you make the corner a little bit more than you usually do. You touch a turtle, you're turning the other direction. When it comes to tendencies, having the tendency to consistently hit that corner entry becomes very important late in the race, because just even tapping a turtle like that, it kills your car because you're going to spin around. And on top of that, you can be conservative and drive higher on the track, but I guarantee you someone else will be catching you from behind if you're doing that.
Speaking of turtles, they're coming up on the left side of the track to specifically mention there with a when-to-go signal. See them right there to signify the pit exit from the racing line, so drivers don't necessarily cut across it and use it as a shortcut. Todd Liston is the first car you've seen there on board there in that bottom line. We'll start alongside Steven Spees for the restart. Morning, Kibbe, Shepard, Lowe, Altice, Belke, Pearson, and Hardin, your top 10 cars for this upcoming restart. The 87 looking comfortable early in the short run. He's up and away. I think he backed off, had a problem going up through the gears here. Here comes Speeds on the outside.
Even Speeds with an opportunity we saw in the initial start of the race. Liston getting way loose. The outside has been able to make a fight. Speeds gets a little bit of help there. New leader, the 55.
Even Speeds now looking to run away. Justin Morton and Kibbe still fighting for P3. Make it through turn 1 this time cleanly, everyone does, but a rough start to the race for Todd Liston after initial good start. The restart, he ends up struggling through the gears, having a bit of tire spin, and now he's looking to take the lead back.
And Liston is fighting back using the outside lane here, able to get to the right rear quarter panel. This is dangerous because Justin Morton will be there to attack. Look at the run off the outside of the corner. Todd Liston putting up a miraculous fight on the outside.
What a squeeze and what a move. The top line seems to be the line so far. Justin Morton using that line to take away second as well, just about. Speed's trying to set it hard on the bottom side still. Slowed the tires a bit though as Morton takes away P2. Looking with the middle to top line already coming in short run.
Talk about flipping the genre on its head. I was not expecting that to open up this race, and none less than Todd Liston to be the first guy to try it and make it work for the lead. Justin Morton saw that immediately, and that even helps him out up to P2.
It didn't work as well if I think back to July. That middle line for some of the passes, even a bit on the short one, it took some laps to get the squeeze done to make the move.
That's what's almost concerning me. That looked too easy at some point. So I'm really worried about that now if you're on the outside. A little bit further back in the field, Belke is trying to use that outside lane against Altice, and it's not working quite as well. I'm wondering if guys like Todd Liston and Justin Morton just know something that we don't.
Keep an eye on it, and here's that battle you were talking about with Belke. The difference is here, though, Belke's not exiting the corner as well. I think he's letting the car roll a bit more just to make sure he doesn't knock that wall down. Because of how tight he can fight you, he has Donnie Moore now to his inside.
Now we will see how different drivers utilize the outside lane. We see drivers all the time. That's how you have to make moves on a short track, right? Either you use the chrome horn because you can't pass someone when you're driving the exact same line. You have to make moves. And now it's starting to get tight for the fourth position. J.R. Shepard and James Lowe right up on the rear bumper of Kenny Gibby.
Reminder that the live time and scoring is available tonight at GSRC.tv to keep up with your favorite teams and drivers. Once again, GSRC.tv. Keep up with your favorite competitors tonight. Belke still side by side. As mentioned, Spees, Kibbe, and Shepard are now hooked up. It's now a fight for third on back you see in this choo-choo train.
He's way to the outside there in turns 1 and 2. Maybe trying a different line out. He didn't lose a ton of time. I mean, Kibbe and Shepard are right on his tail. J.R. Shepard peeking to the outside. He's looking to make a move here on Kenny Kibbe. Actually moving to that outside lane. The outside is really tempting for a lot of drivers, and now Shepard looks like he's making this work.
Keeping it hard on the right rear quarter panel, a little deeper on the brakes as well. Speed's trying to run the middle of the two lines. Shepard not able to get the pull off the turn 4. Kibbe a little bit stronger off the corner. It just seems Kibbe's backing up the brakes a touch more than the 98 so far.
Even Steven Spees in the 55 right in front of these guys, he's using the outside lane, not to pass, but just as his primary line in 1 and 2. A little bit lower here in 3 and 4. Austin Belke even behind them. He caught on to something there, but now the 98 clears the 14. And I wonder if that is going to change the strategy of some drivers noticing how this outside is working early on.
Anyone else migrate up there? Belke and Moore still dooring each other. No. Using the bottom line, it still looks like it's preferred if you're on your own, but Shepard wants to use it this time to pass by Spees. Spees lets him go. Shepard up to third.
Well, naturally, J.R. Shepard is the guy who can make any line work and move up through the field. He has a little bit of running to go to catch up to Justin Moore, about 7/10 behind him, but still a hornet's nest here. Belke is just stuck on the outside right now. You can kind of see him more towards the back here. And again, now Steven Spees is put to the outside, as now Kenny Kibbe's looking to use the inside I'm almost thinking maybe there isn't even a predominant line, just predominant drivers on a certain part of a track.
Possibly, but keep in mind, no tire sets available in the pits, meaning you start the tire with the tires you began the race on. You have to keep those tires on your race car. A lot of these drivers utilizing those tires very early, but if you do that too much, you're going to make them pay if you have to fight hard for, say, this battle like Speeds, Lowe, and Kevy still.
And Todd Liston is scaring me. 3/4 of a second ahead of the field right now. And the reason why, Justin, is because we saw it a ton last year. Someone scores the pole. They get out to a miraculous pace to start the race, about a 1 second lead. And what do you say? 25, 30 laps and their tires are gone and they end up finishing outside the top 10. Yep. Being able to pace yourself in the opening part of the race is very important. And Todd Liston, I think, is too hot on the pace right now. We'll find out if he's able to conserve enough tire.
He actually just dropped to 0.6 of a second, right on cue and on schedule. Warden closed in by a few 100ths last time by. Not as much pace gain this time by. Still keeps it even. Separated by 3 1,000ths of a second. Make it 2 1,000ths you see on the bottom of your screen.
And that's what a lot of people in iRacing take for granted. Some of the front runners is like, oh, they get up front, they stay up front, yeah. That's not always the case. Pacing and not running a qualifying lap every single lap is how you be consistent and win races. That is a very overlooked part of some of the dominating racers on the platform, is the ability to set a pace, stick to it, and knock the track down. It's not always about just going all out 24/7.
Exactly. Liston's now starting to pay the price, by the way. It's down to half a second coming into the corner entries compared to Justin Morton. So it is dropping. Take a look on board. He also, by the way, has J.R. Shepard closing in quickly. Shepard gained 0.2 last time from behind.
Well, you can almost see the fishing hook, right? He's starting to reel him in right here. He's closing
Trouble. Robbie Robinson around in the 56 down the front stretch. No caution flag from P12. Robinson still able to keep it rolling. No caution as he went off the racing surface. This is why this was while finding with Allen, just looped it on the bottom.
Oh man, that's a shame. The Air Force veteran, one of my favorite paint schemes, both on dirt and asphalt. Man, that's a tough one there. Probably just a little bit too much acceleration and also exited a little bit too low for how much gas he was probably throwing in those rear tires.
Pretty SimRacing machine now deep behind. Needing caution 6 seconds behind. P4 starting to heat up a little bit, still with Kibby in front, Low behind. Speeds also rides on behind. These cars are also in the same ballpark pace-wise as your race leader.
And in every race this season, we have discussed the patience of that orange number 99. Okay, I shouldn't have said anything.
And bye-bye, James Lowe. Caution is out. Gotta love the commentator's curse on iRacing. It works every single time. Here's a look at what happened with the James.
I'm going to get an email from Lowell Jewel here. I'm going to get an aggressive driving penalty probably or something like that. I'm going to get a warning for that one. Just got really close to Kibby's rear bumper there. I don't know, maybe locked up the brakes a little bit. Got on the brakes too hard at least so he didn't run into Kibby. And sometimes when you're in the middle of a corner or turning, that's just too many inputs in the car and they just can't handle that.
So Lowe smokes the tires a little bit, loses all the track position to 16th. If you think back, he had some trouble here back in July. It's one of his better finishes. 2020 Season 3's campaign. Here's your biggest movers and droppers so far. Lowe, your biggest dropper now with -10 on the grid. +6 though from running after using a faster pair early. +5 for Donnie Moore. Along with Mike Gowan, +2 for Morton and Shepard so far.
Yeah, this is a big race for Michael Redding now, moving into the top 10. We will see how much tire he has left. Obviously, a little bit used tires when they're cold makes for a different kind of restart here. So we will see. Redding has done a great job on the asphalt, hasn't ran a ton with the series as of late. But exciting here, coming from 16th. You mentioned the early faster pair. How aggressive do you be, knowing that you don't have another mulligan, but you still want to get up front?
Let's think about the tires, though. You don't want to cook them trying to push hard. It's just, again, small difference in the faster pair usage. Here's the interesting thing, though. I don't know if Liston would have wanted the caution or not to cool off the tires because he was drifting up the track prior to the contact, to the point where he nearly knocked the wall down out of turn 4 and lost 2/10. Here's the reason why I don't know if he wants the caution, though. This allows Shepard to be on his back bumper for the restart instead of about a second or plus behind.
And even worse, if he has the most worn tires in the field right now, making him cold is not going to help. I've been in these positions before when you're the guy out front and you definitely don't have the tires. The number one thing that you can't do is push yourself too hard and try to keep pace with everyone. You have to run your own race on this restart here. Otherwise, you're going to push it too hard and you're going to either spin yourself out or you're going to pancake the wall something. You have to run your own race here and just be a little bit conservative here going into 1.
He starts off. It's Liston, Morton, Shepard, and Kibbe. Spees, Altice, Moore and Allen, Redding and Harding among your top 10 drivers on the restart. Bit of a later start. Off and away we go. 6 on back, checked up.
Very smart of Liston to mix up the start as well. You see him a little bit higher than everyone else. Here comes J.R. Shepard looking for P2.
Trying to utilize the bottom side, hard on the brakes. Will Morning give him the space? No, he tries to press the gas hard. Liston nearly drifts up to the wall. Morning nearly knocks down the wall. Shepard now with a run on the bottom into turn 1 as Kibbe closes in again.
And these drivers are going to get a Myrtle beach stripe. I think just about everyone in the top 5 will by the time this race is over, the way that these guys are running on corner exit. The 98 cruise shot machine of J.R. Shepard moving into second. And now just Liston might begin on the gas too early. He is floating up to the wall on exit.
Has nearly knocked it down. That was just about what happened before the caution. And now, after the caution, it's Shepard to the point. Looking to secure the battle for the race lead in 3 and 4. Liston way too high once again as Shepard passes him and Liston's in the fence.
Well, it was just such a smart restart there to kind of mix up his starting point, but now just not enough right front tire in that to keep it pinned down to the bottom. Now it's damage control time for Todd Liston. Don't burn up the tire too much. Don't run into the wall. Don't do anything that you're going to regret. You have to adapt to what you have now, settling into the 3rd position.
Calm himself down now with some traffic up in front. And Warden still in second. Kibbe still falling on behind as well. Of note, the first fight side by side is Redding and Altice. Redding stuck on the high side. He's been drifting a little bit on entry, trying to hit the braking mark. Altice, Moore, and the rest of the cars behind him, though, have not let up on the bottom side.
Wow, what a restart for Redding. Up 4 positions since the restart. But right now, having his hand full with Ruben Altice, Donnie Moore looking to strike as well right behind them.
Trouble. Jason Menda around down the backstretch. The 45 in the inside wall. No caution flag. We stay green as he is back rolling. It appears on the circuit, if not into the tow truck. So a rough start to the race for a couple others. Redding still stuck on the high side in all this.
And I don't think that's terrible. We saw plenty of drivers utilize that outside to make moves, and right now fighting off Altice. Try to pick up that 6th position if he's able to clear here. Has his eyes set on the top 5 after already using up his fast repair and starting in 16th.
That insult to injury can confirm Menda on top of crashing to the inside wall with a technical issue that will not allow him to get back onto the tow truck quickly. 45 out of contention and then some for tonight. Ready, clear, finally. Hard defense this time as he now tries the bottom on Spees.
I don't even know if that was defense. I think that was straight up offense. He said, I got one, it's time to take out another here. Got to the inside of Spees and putting on the pressure.
Heard him discuss it was going to be a loose track and a bit of a difficult track. He's having one of his best runs all year now in this race with this charge for the field, approaching halfway already, and he's looking for the top 5.
And tonight, this is a driver's track. You see him hold off someone on the outside, make the pass, and immediately switch over and make a pass to the inside. It's all about driver feel here. I don't even think that there is a dominant line. It's about where a driver can run with their car the best. When you got guys like J.R. Shepard and right now Michael Rain who can do both, that's a dangerous machine.
54 to go, and Speeds hit from underneath by Donnie Moore. Still losing it as James Lowe is involved. Caution not out yet. Pearson stopped on the track. Sagawa involved. Still no caution. How in the world?
Yeah, that looks like a roadblock there. I can't believe that they didn't throw out the caution. Here
Oh.
comes your leaders.
And now it's out.
That's weird. And now the
Oh.
worst part of that is that puts Steven Speeds a lap down. And he's going to have to take a fast repair too, so I don't know if he's going to get his lap back.
That is absolute calamity. We'll see what happened here. You see the contact. Then your points leader collected.
Oh, and that major impact there with Austin Belleque running into the left side. We're going to have to see if that steering is still in line. It looks okay going down the straightaway at least. They can look on board here. Here's how fast it happens.
Not enough time to squeeze on down with that becoming a roadblock.
Yeah, car looks straight.
Well, he got
Belleque's doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, a bit of fender damage. Then, of course, the reason for the caution, Spees took a bit going to time to get back rolling, should say, just prior to halfway. Just in time he got going to. If he wasn't where he was, if he stayed on the top line, for example, that may have been disaster since it would have been coming hard off the corner with the leaders not knowing he would have been there.
Yeah, that'd be a blind look right there. Steven Spees just spent 41 seconds on pit road. So I don't know if he didn't use his fast repair there. All I know is that he's still trapped a lap down, and that's really a shame if he's not able to get that lap back. The caution, I mean, that was a roadblock right there, about 6 cars. That'd be a shame if he doesn't get his lap back.
Can confirm he did get the repair done. Well, he may also put some fuel in it for the amount of time he was in the pit box compared to the car. But now it's Shepard, Morton, Liston, Kibbe, Redding, Altice, Moore, Allen, Hardin, and James Lowe in the top 10. And now this race has major championship implications. As cliche as that sounds, it's early on in the campaign. You have J.R. Shepard, who was in the teens in the point standings entering tonight because of a missed race. This may be a chance for him to get back in the fight. So long as he keeps this pressure and momentum up. Keep in mind, Morton and Kibbe are still up towards the front, 2 of the cars he needs to reel on in by about a full race to have a shot on the title again.
But what did he do last year? He clinched by a full race with 2 drop weeks, and Justin, you know better than anyone. What were his 2 drop weeks?
Victories. He also dropped the second, I believe.
I mean, that's ridiculous, right? I mean, having no drop week doesn't help, obviously. But if he can run top 2 the rest of the year, he will be there in the final race, fighting for a championship, I think. So he just has to run like J.R. Shepard runs, and I think that's more of a habit for him than anything else.
49 laps to go this time, setting up at the bottom. One thing to note, I'll take the quick touch upon this before this restart, where we mentioned the SK Modified Series. They'll be actually making a major change, Devin. For a long time, they branded the SK Modifieds. They're switching to the Tour Modifieds for next season.
Moving up to the bigger modifieds, that'll be interesting, and we will see. I know that you can't take much open wheel stuff to these, but we'll see what guys can learn. We've seen people take something from one discipline and use it in another.
See how these Grand National cars go this time. Off and away, Shepard, great launch. And a tire spin for the cars behind.
But watch out, Todd Liston's still on the inside here. Has to fight off Kenny Kibbe now for that 3rd position. He looked all right there through 1 and 2. He might be able to manage this car, slide back into 3rd again. That would be a huge benefit for him.
Trouble, Mike Allen in the middle of the field. Robinson, Belkey, Hardin in turns 3 and 4. We're back under yellow yet again. That was a fast run.
Yeah, that didn't take too long there. Oh, Allen looks like cut down the corner a little bit on Hardin. And Austin Belkey trucks through and just destroys the front end of that Jeff Gordon throwback.
Might need a helicopter view of this because what in the world?
Ooh, I like this view better. Hold on. That's how fast it happens. I go to anyone who doesn't like racing and I go, dude, I'll give you money if you can tell me how to avoid this crash right here. There's nothing you can do. Nothing.
Allen just straight up drifted away from the fence down the middle of the straightaway.
Yeah, not making friends here tonight.
Second incident he's involved in. Segawa with no time to check up. Remember, banked his fast repair from the contact with Allen in the first wreck of the night. Might be having to use one here. Robinson, Allen, apart in, using their respective faster pairs already in this sequence. So we restack them once again here. If you want to beat J.R. Shepard now, what do you do if you're Justin Morton? Because he's in the best position, looks like he's got the car to do it.
One thing that I haven't seen anyone be able to do is in the middle of a race like this, take it to the 98 car and put pressure on him. Because typically, I mean, we saw in the last restart, he blew everyone away. I don't know if it's because guys just don't have the tires left. We're still only about halfway. But maybe if you can put pressure on him, maybe it'd be a little aggressive, try to pass him. If you can get the 98 car back behind you, maybe you can take away his advantage on tires. I mean, I haven't been able to see anyone really put J.R. Shepard in a bad spot after halfway once he's in the lead. So I'm just trying to think of what I haven't seen someone try, and maybe they haven't tried that because it's just not feasible because of how much tire J.R. Shepard is somehow able to save while he's on such a hot pace.
Yep. The interesting thing is I actually ran with these cars in Nashville in preparation for that race. Had a bit of health problems that evening. That's why in part I was not there that evening for that race. But Shepard was one of the cars in that race, and he was a good second quicker. And I was snapping loose trying to save my tires, for reference sake. This car is not easy to drive unless you have tons of experience to even tire safe, let alone be quick while doing it.
Yeah, and he doesn't have experience in an old school NASCAR. He has 6 years of legend car racing across Tennessee. I know they can kind of take some of that, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So he's just phenomenal when it comes to iRacing. It's not the same.
Director asking that same question. Of note, Elliott Sowers in that same race. I was faster than him at some point, and my right rear tire fell off. Welcome to iRacing. J.R. Shepard, ready to dominate once again if he can get a good launch. It's been a strong 2020 for him in BRL competition. He's on the lap pedal off and away.
Watch out, Kenny Kibbe looking for P2 here on the inside, door-to-door with Justin Morton. A great restart, able to follow Shepard in that inside lane.
Yeah, Morton's been committed to that middle line much of the night. Interesting thing, James Lowe, despite that incident, is charging up to the field. He's up to 8.
Well, you can see that bright orange 99 there. Man, right now, J.R. Shepard is really backing up the corners. Kibbe and Morton are right on the rear bumper.
Shepard really bad on the corner exit there. Wonder if he's trying to save a little bit and force these cars to fight each other here and burn up their equipment doing this.
Maybe, well, like what I said under caution, if Morton can pass the 98, just try something different. No one has handed it to him in the middle of a race before and retaken the lead. You have to try something to force him to burn off those tires. Maybe this is an opportunity here.
Morton trying to back up the corner on the exit of turn 4. Loses the car lane. Liston's up to P3. Michael Redding's up to 4th.
Who? What? Wasn't he in the back just a minute ago? Now looking to take over 4th from Kenny Kibbe, and you can still see the orange 99 just lurking behind them as well. He's moving on up, trying to get 7th from Ruben Altice.
Some drivers, they take a couple days to get back to being used to the sim if they take some time off. Redding? Seems like he's jumped right on in and became even faster from being back in the sim, it seems.
Somehow. And hey, how about in 3rd place? Todd Liston has found his way back into P3 after it looked like he just burned his tires, and he has really settled in on the podium right now.
He's under attack by Redding. He drifts up the track again. Redding, the quickest car potentially on the track. A 19.8 last time. Morton and Liston were also in that ballpark, so he is blistering quick. Now losing time, though, as Liston uses the top line for defense.
Boy, right when I say something about Todd Liston's pace, then he kind of slides up the track. Hey, you know what? If I'm not here next week, guys, you know why? I've already caused a crash today. So maybe I just need to stop talking about how good and how impressive a few of these drivers are, because there are some phenomenal stories right now with multiple drivers in the field just from the 65 laps we've had so far.
It's been an incredible race so far with some crazy big moves and some surprising big movers, absolutely. Liston also surprised, since a majority of the races this season, Devin, he's fallen off like a rock if he started up towards the front. Then seems to find his own leads around that pole position battle. He's come into his own right from the get-go tonight.
And after having that really fast pace and open up a big lead, we talked about the tendencies of drivers overdriving and losing the tires and then dropping like a rock. We saw him drop, except it's more like, I don't know, a sponge or something, because he just stayed right up there, and he's keeping pace with J.R. Shepherd and Justin Morton right now. This is a very impressive drive. The pole sitter who goes out to a big lead is never in the top 5 this late in the race.
It's incredible. Liston losing some time at the corner there. A bit of slide for Redding as well in this line. James Lowe fighting side by side for 6 behind him with Donnie Moore of note. That's also losing those cars some time. You see them in the backdrop of this train. There it is right there with Lowe on the bottom.
Donnie Moore is always one of those guys I want to talk more about, but he's never really up fighting for the lead. He always have you see, I try to talk good about someone and he runs into the wall. I just need to stop apparently tonight. But I do need to say, Donnie Moore, he always has really quiet, good finishes, consistent finishes, and it always keeps him high in the points. And that's what you need in any iRacing series, is just that consistency.
That's crucial for trying to win championships, absolutely. Redding, by the way, still holding on to P4. Kibbe, though, is starting to pick up some time in the back bumper of him at the moment, up the track.
And still Michael Redding sitting in the 4th position, lost a little bit of pace to Todd Liston, and now under attack from Kenny Kibbe and James Lowe fighting to work his way into the top 5. He's in the 6th position. Those pair of black and orange cars, they're coming.
Yeah, James Lowe, have seen his organization run a lot of races recently. Yes, they are an actual sim racing team outside of BRL competition. Kibbe has ran a lot of short track races. Redding's talked about the media side of things. All these drivers in this grouping have made themselves well known a lot recently. And the big thing is, if you take a look at the back bumper of Todd Liston's car, guess which logo's on there? Jim Beaver Esports. Guess which driver was the most improved in 2020 Season 3? Bobby Rafferty from Jim Beaver Esports.
And of course, Jim Beaver Esports, one of the sponsors of the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series that we have here on GSRC on Friday nights. Always a ton of fun. And mentioning how some of these drivers do multiple series. How about different platforms as well? Whoa, Redding got into the wall and Kibbe got into the back of him.
Caution is out. 25 laps to go, and what a tough break for Michael Redding. It's so easy to just drift your way up to the wall and get stuck in it. That's what happened to Redding.
Here's the GSRC replay machine down the front straightaway. There's Spark 1 and Kibbe. You can't check up too much because you have Lowe right on your rear bumper. I mean, there's really wasn't much Kenny Kibbe could do there, but right before that happened, I was going to say about the Dirt Street Stock Series, if you throw Redding back into that top 5, the whole top 5 also runs the Dirt Street Stock Series, and so it's fun to watch some of these drivers go across different platforms and different diversities of racing across iRacing and be competitive in every single one of them.
Minimal damage on Redding, but he will take the fast repair, it appears here, or at least get some damage repair. He has been down the pit lane, pardon me, at least once, so might get the back bumper damage fixed since he's the last car in the lead lap. But now it gets intriguing. Shepherd's led a majority of the second half of this race, but Morton, Liston have both kept him on the edge of his seat. So has Kenny Kibbe. James Lowe is also back up there. Pardon me, Redding has used the fast repair, but still, it's not a walk in the park race tonight for Shepherd.
Absolutely not. Now, I do think strategy is involved. You remember last restart, pretty good start. Backed up turn 3, the entrance, and it allowed everyone back to his rear bumper. No one can make a move. I would not be surprised if on this restart, boom, gone. I don't think he's gonna be saving up tires. He won't back up another corner. You got one shot here on this restart to stay with him. If you do not keep up with him, he's gonna be riding off to the sunset.
There's no sun out right now.
That's true. Moonset. There we go. That made sense.
Actually, that's a good question. Where's the moon?
iRacing must simulate the moon. We got crowd noise. We got the PA mics. Better be a simulated moon rise and set like the sun.
There's been a lot of discussion recently in the racing community about where the moon is at some of the tracks. Let's just say it's somewhere magical. I don't know.
Behind the clouds. No clouds? Well, it's behind the atmosphere. That's all.
Anywho, in all seriousness, the next race on the calendar is East Stafford Speedway. Your thoughts going towards that race, because we mentioned some of the momentum for tonight. This is going to be crucial, some of the battles here, because Altice is currently in the projected pole spot, battling with Kurt Smith, Austin Belke around P8 on back here for this restart.
Yeah, and that's another track. I mean, obviously, it's a full short track series. Having that track position is a big deal. Watch that battle for 8th, because that's the difference between starting first next week and starting 9th. Last week at Nashville, we saw a wild finish between 7th, 8th, and 9th, trying to decide who was going to be on the pole for this race.
Of course, the man who finished in P8 did not make it to the field this evening, and Jim Sanowski. Now, Shepard stacked them up. Bad jump on the gas. Morton spins the tires as a result. Shepard single file with Liston fights for second.
Not a bad restart for Morton, but gets stuck on the outside. Todd Liston looking for P2 right now, and this is heavenly to watch if you are J.R. Shepard.
Morton finally gets clear of those. So now Justin Morton now has a chance to try and close in. Kibbe now fighting for third. Liston doesn't want to give up without a fight, though. Lowe also stuck on the bottom side with Donnie Moore in all of this. All while Morton within a car length as they are 2 by 2, 3 rows deep.
Todd Liston is leaving it all out there tonight. He wants that podium. Kenny Kibbe going around the outside. Would love to have Todd Liston in the interviews booth. Oh, sideways.
Here goes James Lowe. James Lowe involved. Donnie Moore again. Hardin, Robinson. Altice all crash. The whole battle for P8 involved. Caution is out again.
We'll take a look here at that black and yellow car on this GSRC replay machine. I don't think he got help from Donnie Moore there. They got close, but listen, definitely went in there a little hot. That was an interesting domino effect there, because I don't even think that the 87 caused the wreck behind them. I think the 26 got sideways, and that's what caused the backup. That was really strange.
Listen, overshot the corner there, and right here as Lowe's trying to avoid that, drifts up into more than everyone else, crashes on the bottom.
The Moore there drifted up so that he didn't get hit by Liston. And I think they started to get a little sideways, but that final straw on the camel's back was Lowe having to slow down. And when you get on the brakes, the car doesn't like to turn anymore, and just got to the quarter panel of the 26. That is one of the strangest domino effects I've ever seen.
Shockingly enough, James Lowe has not come to the pit lane apparently yet, at all. Despite some of the hard hits just taken, he's banking the faster pair still, coming to 15 laps to go. He, Altice, Liston, Kibbe, Morton, and Shepard are the only drivers who haven't been to the pit lane in this race tonight.
And back up into the top 10 is Michael Redding. He moves into the 9th position. So even if he can't fight his way back up into the top 5, he's now battling for the pole next week. Also, Steven Spies has got his lap back. He's in 10th.
Precautions help the people who are lapped down, right? Moore did lose a lap and all that, by the way. Sagawa still pinned a lap down plus on the racetrack. Menda, your only DNF at the moment, still watching along, though. Now let's see what just happened. What do you do if you're Shepard? Because it looked like he went off and on the gas a little bit as he lit up some of the tires, and that forced Morton to check up. Because if you pass the driver on the inside line, the control car specifically, and are ahead of them by too much amount of distance, you can get a black flag on the outside line.
Yeah, and for anyone who maybe thought that there were some games being played by Shepard, no. That's what happens when there's 80 laps on your tires at a short track and you're trying to get on the gas a little bit too hard. So, yeah, I think just some tire spin there. You saw Justin Morton, it happened to him as well there. So, I think maybe the same strategy, maybe get on the gas a little bit later so you don't have as much steering input put into the car. But, again, I think it's the same scenario. If J.R. Shepard gets away from everyone, he will be gone.
Want to go signal this time. Shepard, Morning, Kibbe listed your top 4. Smith, Bulky, row 3. Pearson and Allen fighting for the pole spot in row 4. Redding, Spees looking to move into the inversion spots, rounding out your top 10. Buckle up your seatbelts. It's been a bumpy ride so far. And that's not just because of the turtles in turn 1. To the restart zone we go. Shepard with an early launch off and away.
I think that's all I needed right there. He has a very sizable gap. Morton is falling back. Kenny Kibbe door to door with Justin Morton. And this might just be all that J.R. Shepard needs, and he's taking it still pretty calm back there. Oh, how about Kurt Smith? Kurt Smith in 5th, now looking for 4th.
It's just behind this battle for 2nd. Kibbe now finding some legs late in this race. He's been shuffled around a few times tonight. Looking at clear by Morton on the bottom side for P2, about 3/10 back now with Shepard in 3.
So far this season, we have seen that patience is more than a virtue. It's a way to potentially win a race. If Kibbe was patient enough and saved up some tires here, he might have a shot at J.R. Shepard, but with just 10 laps to go, he's got to get clear of Justin Morton quick.
We tried the later arc a little bit later there, pushing Morton a touch up. Morton, though, just able to get on the gas. This is hurting both of them still. 2/10 now lost in this fight in the past 2 laps with now 9 laps to go.
Shepard isn't running away too much. He has about a half-second gap. And I think right now he might even be taking it easy. He sees what's going on in that rear view mirror and he's going,
Michael running.
Wow.
Backstretch.
And this, we're going to have enough laps here. We're going to get another restart, guys.
This is going to be big for the points, too. James Lowe was also in this grouping of cars. Altice and Hardin also here as Reddick gets loose. Lowe gets another shot to his car. And Hardin smacks the wall hard and sheds the front bumper.
A lot of chaos and calamity tonight. On board here, Jeffrey Hardin in the blue number 44. You see him up there in the front. And there's just not much you can do in that scenario. Wow, James Lowe looks like he doesn't even have any damage. Net code giveth.
Yeah, you see how bad Hardin's damage is having to come down. He's already used some repairs this race. That may be at least the end of his lead lap days here in this race. And the frame completely twisted on that car as well. You see with the tire just struggling as the front bumper's just dragging that car.
Hey,
Donnie Moore is the lucky dog, by the way, this caution.
I've been able to drive a dirt street stock like that. It's really cool when you can get it to not spin out. I don't think you can get the same odds on any asphalt track for that matter. So, yeah, that's a tough break in the back of the pack. We've seen a few different instances back there. And that has caused a little bit of help for some drivers. Kurt Smith, the guy we don't always talk about, he's in 5th right now. Austin Belke, another guy where he has his good days, his bad days. He's in 6th place right now. And man, I'm a big fan of Todd Liston right now. We don't get to see him up front much. He has performed so well tonight, and he is so close to hopping onto the podium. At the very least, just getting a good position here tonight. I'm excited here for Todd Liston.
This is going to be fun to see who wins this race. Under 5 to go when the green flag flies. We'll get that signal from the flag stand this time by. Lights are still on, looking like a 3-lap dash. Next flag would end the race.
So another race within a race here. I want to make sure with you, Justin, real quick. So it was Mike Allen had that warning coming into tonight, right?
Yes.
And so we've seen him have some aggressive driving. Typically on a 2nd or 3rd violation, you do get a 1-race suspension. Allen right now in that 8th position. If he finishes in 8th, depending on how the tower scores him, due to having another aggressive outcome, if he gets suspended next race, that might put the 9th place driver on the pole instead. So for the pole next week, we have another race within a race within a race going on.
Sounds like a bit of Matrix breaking out. But with 1 to go this time, this is the fight for the win. Shepard and Morton in row 1. Liston and Kibbe in row 2. Outside shot for Smith and Allen in row 3. Bruce Pearson and Mike Allen fight in row 4. Altice and Spies, the first drivers out of the invert for next week's pole position for East Stafford Speedway and track position. Kibbe on the back bumper of Shepard. He pushes him to the restart zone, up and away.
Morton has a chance here. He is clear for that second position. He's only has 3 laps to do it, but he's right on the rear bumper of J.R. Shepard.
Big run by Morton. Doesn't take it to the bottom, though. Shepard defends hard. Checks up a little bit in the corner as Liston fights for third. 2 to go.
Justin Morton has to pull something out of his hat. He's not one of the drivers that we have seen make moves on the outside. If he is stuck to the inside, he's going to have to use his bumper if he wants to win. One career win, it came at Martinsville. He wants another now.
White flag coming out this time by Wheat Ticket. Final lap for Myrtle Beach Speedway. No move yet for Morton. He's close once again. Can he get the run he needs off turn 2?
Looks like he won't. J.R. Shepard free and clear.
Morton doesn't send it in hard. Shepard coming off the corner. Checkered flag waves. He'll win at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Morton in second. Kibbe rounds out the top 3.
Boy, what a race. J.R. Shepard. The field had every chance to get by that cruise shot machine. They just could not do it.
Of note, Steven Spies took away P8, coming to the checkered from Mike Allen by a few 1/100ths of a second, or a few tenths rather. He's in P8 for the night. But for Shepard, it's been an up and down start to the campaign, with him missing a race, a P2 in Nashville, of course a good run at North Wilkesboro. This could put him back inside the top 10 after tonight.
Oh, like I've said this ever since we knew that he wasn't going to hit every single race and there were no drop weeks. You still have to fear this 98 car because he will have an opportunity. He wins every single race, almost like he did last year. He'll be there in the final race of the year hunting for a championship.
We'll take a step aside, but stick around. Post-race coverage is coming up right after these messages. Welcome back to the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of the Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series, presented by The Cruise Shop. Call them today at 260-755-6125 and Motorsports Drop. Justin Prince alongside Devin Henry, Sean Ambrose in the director's seat as J.R. Shepard came away with the victory tonight by 0.2 of a second over Justin Morton. Kenny Kibbe rounds out your top 3. Well, it's a crucial race for the championship. Todd Liston in 4th with Kurt Smith in 5th. Bulky Altice Spies in the pole position spot in 8th. Mike Allen just outside that picture in 9th. And James Lowe, your points leader, entering tonight, involved in 3 separate crashes inside the top 10, rounds out the top 10, Devin.
Bruce Pearson brings it home in 11th, lost a few spots there in that final restart. Robbie Robinson had early issues. He brings it home in 12th. Donnie Moore, unfortunately, has to settle for 13th. Redding settles for 14th. Joe Segala finishes in 15th, Hardin in 16th, And Jason Menda rounds out your 17-car field here at Myrtle Beach.
Arden and Menda, your only DNFs on the night. And Devin, it was a crazy race tonight at times. We talked about how in the modified race there was plenty of caution flags. Some of that did carry over, but not as much as I think personally I expected.
Yeah, and there were some interesting crashes as well. But hey, what always helps out is being the leader. The more you're out front, the less likely someone's going to crash in front of you, of course. So the guys up front able to make some moves, and another 98 car out in victory lane.
In fact, the 98 car is up into the broadcast booth. J.R. Shepard joins us once again. Congrats on the victory. How are you feeling after what was an interesting night here from Myrtle Beach for BRL competition?
Yeah, I love this track. I love all tracks that are like this, and wear the tires out because it's all about your the line you run and throttle control. So it's a lot of fun, and these guys were pretty tough tonight. Justin, Kenny, Todd. I know James and some of the other guys had some bad luck, but there's a lot of guys up front tonight that were running good. So it was a fun race.
I was going to say, talk about those final couple laps because Morton looked like he was ready to pounce if he made any mistake or missed any line.
Yeah, I was really hoping that we were going to get some good green flag racing in there, and just seemed like once we got the cautions past halfway, it just wouldn't stop. And Justin's always good the first couple of laps. Compared to me, I'm trying not to spin the tires, and I go into that race mode, and I just can't get a little bit of extra speed out of it like I need to on some of the restarts. I know he's going to be tough, but had just enough to hang on to it.
Next race, East Stafford Speedway. Your thoughts going there, as this was an important race, mind you, to get back into the title fight?
Yeah, that track's fun too. I've had a lot of success there, and it's one of those tracks where you got to be extremely patient. Pretty hard to pass on. Kind of got to let the car come to you and not wear out your front or rear tires, because in these cars it tends to wear the front out going in and the rear out coming off the corner. So just got to back your corners up and be patient. And I mean, some of that's represented tonight. You can see that myself and Kenny Kibbe, we ran our fastest laps the last couple of laps of the race. So got to have the tires for the end.
Absolutely, especially in the short tracks at iRacing. Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
Yeah, just again, big shout out to the Bootleg Racing League for allowing us to do this each and every weekend, giving us something fun to be a part of and participate in. And thank you to the Cruise Shop for being on board, and the Motorsports Drop for helping out with this series. It's great to have good partners like that, and extremely glad that we get to race on a broadcast with GSRC, and hopefully put on a good show for the fans.
Congrats on the victory.
Yep, thank you guys, appreciate it.
J.R. Shepard, your winner tonight by 0.2 of a second over Justin Morton. Morton standing by, in fact, with my co-announcer, Devin Henry. Devin?
Yeah, second place finish here for Justin Morton, but that late race restart. Justin, what else did you need to try to make a move there on the 98?
More skill, I guess. I don't know. He's just so good. I'm picking up so much from him, so it's great getting beat by him over and over again. I'm definitely picking up a lot from him.
Well, yeah, there you go. You learn a lot. Obviously, this track, a very loose track. Sometimes you're the guy who's fighting the wheel and turning to the right the most out of anyone in the field. But that 9 car looked pretty stable tonight. So what did you learn here tonight at Myrtle Beach?
Definitely backing off the car a lot. Like, I was lifting at the front straightaway, or not front straightaway, the start-finish line every time, basically the entire race. So just being patient, keeping the tires safe, and waiting on the throttle to not kick it sideways.
Nonetheless, bringing it home in the second place position. Another great outing here in the BRL Grand National Series. Who do you have to thank for stepping up here on the podium once again?
And I'd like to thank my team, Total Downforce Racing, Pixel Dust for the amazing paint, Will for running this great league. It's always a blast running Friday nights, Saturday nights. Cruise Shop for sponsoring us, and Chris Leone's Motorsports Drop for picking us up this season. And thank you guys for broadcasting. It's always a blast to go back and watch it.
Always a pleasure to be here and watch it and call for you guys. You guys have some fun racing. Justin, congrats. The second place finish tonight, and we'll see you next week.
See you.
All right. Well, there's your top two. Now Justin's caught up with Kenny Kibbe.
Yes, indeed, Kenny. First things first, looked like you were starting to make some gains at the closing stage to this race. How were you feeling after how you did tonight? Or how are you feeling, I should say?
I feel pretty good. I mean, I didn't really get a chance to really try to get the lead. Of course, on the last restart, I screwed up and I hit the rev chip going from second to third gear, so that kind of took me out of the running. But yeah, I did a much better job this week of saving my tires and kind of just running my own race and being there at the end. So I feel way better about that. The last few weeks, I've kind of got caught up in the moment trying to get the lead and never got the lead, and it kind of really messed me up by the end. But this week, I kind of just disciplined myself a little bit better, and I was able to get back up to third, which is nice. But man, these guys up in the top 5 gave me a heck of a fight, and there was a lot of really good racing up front.
What do you feel you would have needed overall tonight to be that car in victory lane instead of the car in P3?
I probably one of two things: either a restart on the high side, where I could have gotten up next to whoever was in second and get past them, or maybe a restart in second would have helped. I never really got that chance, or a long run at the end. So I think the guys in front of me were going to start losing some grip at the end, and I think I was staying pretty consistent overall. So I think one of those two things could have maybe helped me out.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
Everybody at the cruise shop and the Motorsports Drop, I think that's what it's called. I forgot to, I keep forgetting to thank them, the new sponsor of the series, and GSRC for the awesome broadcasts, and everybody up front that raced with us tonight. Todd had a great run tonight, and Justin ran me clean at the end. It was a really fun battle. And JR, great job to all those guys tonight.
Congratulations on the third this evening.
Thanks.
Kenny Kibbe, rounding out your top 3. Devin, your quick final thoughts.
Boy, just excited when you have races like this that are just so tough to race on. And that's what BRL brings every week with these short tracks here. So going to East Stafford next week, another track where I think some of these drivers up front are really learning patience on these short tracks. And it feels like every week some of these front runners get better and better. And I think that kind of the top tier or top 2 tier just closing up a little bit in this league. And I really enjoy seeing those battles.
It was a fun battle tonight. Again, lots of action still to go in this campaign. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's race from Myrtle Beach. I'd like to thank Bootleg Racing League for organizing this exciting series. I want to take the time to thank the title sponsors once again for this series and the cruise shop and Motorsports Drop. Also like to take the time to thank the sponsors that provide the companies around that provide the software and hardware for a broadcast listed up on screen. Additional thanks go to Jude Lawn, who provides original music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team tonight in Devin and Sean. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC including its upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can check out our merchandise for sale at gsrc.storyv1.com. Or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head over to YouTube pages as well as hit that big red subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a moment on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Next race is at East Stafford Speedway on October 24th. Be sure to keep an eye on that. Coverage starts at approximately 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, green flag, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Let's have races for other series upcoming on your screen, so check those out and mark them down your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.